business for us is to elect a chair. So would anybody?
I nominate
nomination?
Peter Bullock, since he's sitting in
Why did
the
I know
chair.
you were gonna do that?
Second.
Okay, if you were.
Couldn't talk her into it last night.
Here's been nominated, seconded. Is there any other nomination? Bonnie?
Yes and no.
Bonnie's on mute. I guess.
Bonnie,
No, I agree with Susan.
Great, okay. We have Peter on the floor as chair, so all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Peter.
Thank you, Bonnie.
I can't. Well,
Congratulations, Peter.
yeah, time will tell. Okay, now we need to elect the vice chair. I'll take nominations.
I nominate Elijah Zimmer.
I'll second that.
Elijah Zimmer has been nominated. Are there any further nominations? Are you following us, Bonnie?
Yeah, no,
Yes or no? Or which one is it? Okay. Hearing no further nominations, all those in favor of Elijah Zimmer as vice chair would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. Elijah is elected.
All right, congratulations. Elijah.
Next motion is to take a nomination for the clerk. Take nomination, guess nobody wants to step up. Bonnie, I think, were you the clerk last time to get
Elijah
elected?
was, I think. Was Elijah?
Yeah, I was clerk last time.
Yeah, we'll give
Yeah.
it Bonnie. Yeah.
Bonnie, you wanna take the clerk?
what do I have to do?
Ask Elijah, he didn't do anything last year.
I think I survived.
I
Okay,
will.
I'll be clerk.
I second that nomination.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, I'll second that nomination.
Any further nominations? Hearing and seeing none? All those in favor of Bonnie North as the clerk would say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
All those opposed, nay. Bonnie is elected. All right, let's adjourn this select board meeting so we can get right into the liquor commissioners meeting. We have 4 licenses up for renewal. Bells Falls Country Club is the first class club license and the third class club license. Jiffy Mart is a tobacco license and a tobacco substitute endorsement. Athens Pizza House is looking for a first class bar license. JW Sandry is looking for a tobacco substitute endorsement. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the licenses aforementioned. Any further discussion?
Quick question, the one on Cambridgeport Road, that's just the applicant's home address? Is that
Yes,
right?
it is.
Yeah. If you go through the golf club there, they're all over the place. There's about 15 of them listed. Motion been made and seconded to approve the 4 licenses as mentioned. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Coming around for signature. And there's a bunch.
We hate these new things, but is there any way to print them back to back so we don't get stacked paper this big?
You know, I did a couple of them that way and they were actually more confusing because of the way
Oh,
that
really?
they, oh my God. They were hard to fathom where one ended and where the other one began, and so I decided it was just easier to have a clean.
Oh,
break
they're
on them.
horrible.
They are not.
Well, I have emailed the person that was responsible for this thing, and she sent me back the first email saying there's another page or another form that has a signature page on it. Well,
I've never seen that.
never got it back. And so I said to her, if there is, can you contact the town clerk to see if she's downloading the correct pages? Never got a response.
I don't have the same page on this one.
Yeah, there's one on the backside and then
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to get these crisscross, it's a pain in the neck doing these this way.
Right.
The other one's so much simpler because it was already figured out there. Second page. I'll order the Rockingham Select Board regular meeting. It's 7:39 after our reorganization partial. First order of business is to approve the minutes of February 21st.
I move to approve the minutes of February 21st.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the minutes of February 21st. Any additions, corrections, deletions, comments? Seeing and hearing none? All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carried. Bonnie voted.
Aye. Sorry,
No problem. So much paper we gotta get through here. All right, next item is to additions to the agenda for routine administrative matters and pressing matters that will require ratification at a future meeting. I have none. Scott,
No, nothing for tonight.
board?
At some point, I'd like to review last night's meeting. I don't know where is that
Other business.
other business?
Hey, public comment on items not on the agenda, 3 minutes. The person? Seeing none? Move on to the next item. Public comment on items, just that one, manager report, Scott.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep it simple. Congratulations to all the members of the board. So glad to have everybody back and looking forward to another productive year. So I think Peter has the results. It appears that most everything that was on the local docket passed, so all in all, it seems like it was a fairly productive evening.
All right, I'll read off the results. Appears the select board members who are running unopposed are re-elected. Town moderator, Paolo Bohosky, 372, 1 write-in. Mr. Bohosky is the winner. 3-year select board, Elijah Zimmer, 337 votes. Write-in 5, Mr. Zimmer is elected. Rick Cowan, 1 year. Susan Hammond, 1 year. Rick Cowan, 317. Susan Hammond, 313, running unopposed. There were 5 write-ins. They are both elected. Town lister, Paul Noble, running unopposed, 340 votes, 1 write-in, Mr. Noble's elected. Trustee of public funds, there were 31 write-ins, we don't know who it is, so we'll have to wait till the paper comes out in the morning. Trustee of David R. Campbell Fund, 32 write-ins, we have no idea who it is, that will be also in the paper. Custodian of David R. Campbell Fund, it's another one that was a 1 year write-in, was 20. No idea who it was in the paper. Trustee of Public Library, three people running, and there are only 2 got votes. Wendy Levy got 300, and Brady Weinstock got 281. They are both elected. Rockingham School Moderator, write-in was 76. There was blank, so we don't have any idea who that is. Rockingham District Director for 3 years, Bill Morris, 284. Write-in 20, Mr. Morris is elected. Rockingham School District, 2 years. Caitlin Deschenz Desmond, 275. Write-in for 10, Ms. Desmond is elected. School Director, BFUHS District, 2 years. Michael Stack, 321, write-in 13, Mr. Stack is elected. School District Director for 3 years, second one. Write-in is 147 votes for the mystery person, I'll have to wait till the morning. School article number 8, I have no clue what that is, so I'm gonna guess it may be the budget. 291 votes for yes, no 93, motion, article passes. Technical district, that's in Springfield, the tech school. Yes votes, 305, no 76, motion passes, the article passes. Bellows Falls Article 5, I assume it's the budget. Yes, 315, no 72, article passes. Article 6, Bellows Falls. Yes, 289, 97 no, article passes. Article 7, Bellows Falls. Yes votes, 257, no 123, article passes. Bellows Falls Article 8. Yes vote, 297, no 83, article passes. Bellows Falls Article 9, 300 votes yes, no 86, article passes. That's all we have for those. If you look in the packet from the school, if you've got one, that will give you the articles, and it will probably be in the paper tomorrow. Anyway. Okay, let's go down to number 2 on the agenda, appointments. First one on the agenda is tree warden. It's Cass Wright currently. Mr. Wright is here. Are you interested, sir?
Why, yes.
Right.
I've not yet begun to get creative.
Well, that's good. So we need a motion to elect Mr. Wright as the tree warden.
I move that we elect Cass Wright as the Rockingham tree warden.
There's a second.
Second.
Okay, motion been made and seconded to elect Cass Wright as the tree warden. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Mr. Cass is elected. All right, animal control officer. Mr. Wright is also the animal control officer. Are you still interested in chasing dog?
Why, yes.
All right.
I move that we elect Cass Wright as the town's animal control officer.
We're a second. I'll second. Mr. Wright has been nominated as the animal control officer and seconded. Any further discussion?
I just have a question. I mean, nothing against Cass, because he's been doing this job for quite a while, but we now have the Wyndham County Sheriff doing animal control. I don't know whether that's something we need to look into the future, or I have no idea how well it's working through them. I have no idea if it's, if it's like driving all the way down to Wyndham County.
To Dummerston.
Humane Society.
Are you familiar with this operation? I've read
I
something.
know nothing about it.
All I have heard is that the animal control officer in our neighboring town of Westminster got finished. And I had heard that the sheriff's department had stepped up to oversee that.
I think that's what I saw. I'm not sure.
Well, I looked online just because I had heard about them, and they were, they're in Guilford, Dummerston, Westminster, Wyndham, and one other town, maybe Grafton, I don't know. So that they've added that to their package of services, so I just don't know if it's something that,
We have elected Mr. Wright as the animal control officer this year, so it'll be something we can look into as we go forward through the year and plan on for the budget.
Do we have a contract with
No, we have a contract with Wyndham County Humane Society to take our people, but
In terms of
Um,
collecting the dogs.
yeah, it's been cast, and I just know at times it's been, you know, he's got to drop things and run all the way down to Dummerston, whereas the Wyndham County Sheriffs, they're already practically there, so I just don't know if it's something.
I would advocate the town use whatever avenue for the service serves them best. Myself, most days, I feel I earn my $3.22 a day, which is a mathematical reality of that. About the only thing I have to say on a related note, is, boy, if there is any way the town website could make it easier to find my contact information. I've heard that off and on in the last 5 years that I've done this. And in the last couple of months, I'm inundated, by people saying to me, after the fact, as I get involved with incidents, I would have called you, but I couldn't find your number.
Yeah, I looked at the Wyndham County Humane Society page where they list all the animal control officers, and they list you for Rockingham, but not for Sackers River or Bellas Falls, which technically you would be covering those two areas too, I presume.
You wanted the town of Rockingham, yeah.
Right, but I mean, it's, so someone who's lost a dog, you know, dealing with a dog in Bellas Falls who doesn't realize that you were the one who
It would be
called.
handy if it was spelled out.
Yes, it's not on the Wyndham County Humane Society's page that you are to be called if it's in if it's in Bellas Falls or Sackers River. So that could be something.
And I know I'm included on the health department page, but I guess the health department page is not easy to find right now.
There is a listing that unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, I'm trying to work on to list, all the elected officials and who gets appointed to what. If that ever comes to fruition, that will probably be posted on there. It'll have everybody's email address, et cetera, so.
In the meantime, I urge the town to look into, Wyndham County Sheriff, see how they offer the service and what the cost is, and by all means, I mean, as long as I'm doing it, I'll find a way to do it. Certainly, and, for the past 5.5 years, it's been my privilege to do it. But by all means, I serve the whim of the town, so let me know what you decide.
Peter,
And until then,
I'd like to compliment you on the way you handle animal issues with great sensitivity. You're persistent, you try to get the emotions out of the way to see the animals' best interests. So I think you're doing a bang-up job. Back then, that's the experience. So
traffic, trees, dogs, and kids, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Put it on a shirt, I guess.
Thank you, sir, for taking those two positions. Next item is the
Yeah, we haven't
appoint.
voted, so. Did we vote?
we didn't vote.
We didn't.
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All those in favor of Mr. Wright being nominated as the animal control officer, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. I guess Bonnie voted in favor. Previous election. Thank you, Bonnie.
Word.
All right, set time and place, appoint select board member to review and sign warrants.
Peter, haven't you done that in the past?
Yeah,
Do we have to do two? Or just one?
just one.
All right, nominate Peter.
I second that nomination.
Here, a second. Motion is made and seconded to appoint Peter as the select board member to review and sign warrants. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. I'm elected. Set time and place for regular board meetings, the first and third Tuesdays at 6 p.m. And we need a resolution to sign. Everyone happy with that?
I put a copy in your packet.
Yep.
The only thing that I wanted to I showed you the previous one that we had, and then also I took the library off as an official posting for our regular meetings, because in most instances, when I send them copies, it doesn't always get posted. And so I don't know what anybody feels about that, but you know, we posted here, we obviously have it on the website, so we're well in compliance, but it's always been a hit or miss thing as to whether or not it gets posted at the library, and it is part of your resolution, so I took it off. You can certainly add it back if you felt that you needed to, but wanted to point that out to the board that it does not always get posted, and therefore, I guess somebody wanted to give you a hard time, they could say that you were not in compliance with your open meetings policies.
Also, just for public notice that the months of June, July, and August, we'll be meeting only once a month, and it's usually the first Tuesday of that month. So the resolution will be coming around for signatures. Did the liquor license get passed over?
I have the liquor license,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Dot policies and procedures. There are 4 of them in here. There's nothing unusual that's
Continuation of.
changed.
Yep.
So it would be adopt the conflict of interest policy, code of ethics policy, rules of procedure, and continue all other policies and procedures as previously adopted. Do I have a motion to adopt those policies?
I move that we adopt the policies you just read.
Do we have a second? Motion made and seconded to adopt the policies, the conflict of interest, code of ethics, rules of procedure, and all other policies and procedure previously adopted. There is a Bible. If we can ever find one that's in town hall, we can get copies made. I think Sue and I got the only ones out there.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure mine's completely up to date, but it's probably closer than anybody else's. All those in favor of adopting the policies as read, would say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Application for use of alcohol on municipal property.
So the Wild Goose is having a production in March. And David is here and is going to have a liquor vendor, potentially for beer and wine for some of the shows. And so he had submitted an application for that. And I believe it's Ramundo's will be the purveyor. Is that correct, Dave?
Yeah.
Okay.
Quite a unique name, I'll say that.
Sorry?
That's quite a unique name.
It's not Ramunto's.
Oh, for the show. Yeah.
Brings back memories of recycling center. We don't go down that road. All right, need a motion to approve the use of alcohol on municipal property for the Urinetown musical by Wild Goose Players. Donovan's is going to be the
And
caterer.
actually, well, it won't be Donovan's, it's changed, right, correct?
It
David?
was Donovan's, they declined after a while, they said they just don't want to do it, so, well, Ramunto's is doing it out of Brattleboro.
Okay, and I'll have all the appropriate
Right.
license,
Well,
all
we
the
can change
appropriate
this.
insurances and all the appropriate coverages, so we'll be good to go. They have all the information.
So moved then, Peter. The motion you said.
Okay. Motion been made and seconded to approve the use of alcohol on town property by the Wild Goose Players for the Urinetown musical, 3/24/23 to 4/1/2023. The only change is Donovan's declined as a caterer and Ramunto's from Brattleboro has stepped up to take it on. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carried.
I was asked just to see if I could find out who the DLC rep that, if there is a rep that the town deals with.
There's somebody who lives in town that does inspections for liquor control.
Okay, can I get the name from you?
I don't know if she does the setup, so I think she does more of the people that are,
I'll get that information.
I think Sean's.
All right, Sean can
contact,
All
yeah.
right, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you for your time.
All right, number 6, appeal health officer order of eviction. There's a packet in your,
So Sean had written a letter of
Have it in your
explanation, and then there is some additional detail that he has available here at the dais, if anybody has follow-up questions or concerns. as part of the statutory requirements, we do have to offer an opportunity for anybody in this situation to have an appeal. Given written notice to that effect, and so we did post it on the meeting. And at this point, I'm not aware of anybody coming to appeal the order. So at this point, just an action for compliance as opposed to any required action from the board.
Are there any errors that would be even able to appeal? Because, I mean, it would have to be somebody in this family, I imagine, right?
Well, it was served on, I assume the daughter. So if there was any appeals, she would be the one
to do it.
appealing.
No, I just didn't know if there was somebody out there.
I don't see anyone here that
Okay,
resembles that remark, so.
I spoke with her today by phone. She had no desire to.
Yeah, when you serve that, March second? Okay.
Just mailed to her, emailed.
There has been a change in the statute that health officer now can serve the health orders.
okay,
We don't need
We don't need
the
the
sheriff to do it.
I
okay,
think they simplified things a bit.
yeah, that
Which
is
is helpful from a process point of view.
Who owns the trailer? Is Bowser on the trailer?
Yes.
What will the next step be?
Well, I'm getting there.
Okay. for the-
Construction, I'm reading through my list here.
right.
Did you get permission from the owner to go up there and go through this, or?
I did, so
Okay, I just wondering, because
if you want,
you need a search warrant unless you got permission.
do you want the whole backstory on this?
Probably, you might as well give it to us then.
Alright, so it was occupied by Gerald Bowser. He had actually been there multiple times before his passing. For lift assist, we were trying to get him, it was unlivable while he was there. We were trying to find him alternate housing, working with HCRS and the state. And unfortunately, he passed before that happened. According to our supervisor, he claims that there was a notice put up about a year and a half ago, notifying that it was being condemned. I was unable to find anything in any records which showed it was being showed as condemned. The daughter reached out to me to see if that was true. I researched all that. I couldn't find anything. It is, I mean, the pictures don't do it the justice that it deserves. It's leaning pretty heavily. It's got excessive rock all the way around it. It's literally falling apart. So it's probably gonna end up costing her money to get it out. So all the parties involved have been spoken with. They're all in agreement that it needs to be removed from there.
So was there a time limit when they had to get it out of there, or did we try to work?
I'm
something
gonna
out?
work with her on getting it out of there. I'll work with her and with the whole department.
And then wants it out of there anyway. Right, the board's authority is to affirm, modify, or terminate the order. What's your pleasure, folks? If you affirm it, then it goes on from there.
I move that we affirm the order. Have a second.
Made and seconded to affirm the health order to Elizabeth Bowser for trailer on lot number 9. It's uninhabitable. And there's details being worked out currently to take care of the issue. Any further questions, comments? Bonnie, got anything?
No, nothing.
If no one does anything about it, is there a time limitation where the town has to step in?
I think that would go more towards the mobile home park would be,
Then,
yes,
Okay,
yeah,
they would have more authority than we would, I think.
right.
and if they don't do it,
Then I think we would step in, but there's actually an entire, for the process, there's another means for mobile home parks that are dealt with in the state. But everybody kind of wants it removed, so, I think it'll happen. I don't see any problems with it. If there are, then we'll do what we can to help out.
Just for your information, the trailer park owner is North Shore Properties Limited. And that is Stephen Holcomb, who was the son of the previous owner. The agent for that is Mr. Dakin, the attorney in Chester. So I think we've got a route to go through, probably back through Dakin to get something moving on it, and he can, with the trailer park owner, I would think.
Hopefully we don't get that one.
Yeah, we don't need another one. Victor, I guess you're all set? You good to go?
We go.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks for coming in,
We
Sean.
say aye?
Already caused the consternation.
I'm not sure we did.
I don't think we voted.
No.
We seconded, but we didn't vote.
Motion's made and seconded to affirm the health order for the trail park. I mentioned that statement, we just didn't vote. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right. There is a letter in your packet from the manager for a retention of a temporary or part-time employee. So Scott, I'll let you.
Right, so as you can see, I included a bunch of correspondence here that deals with all the different projects that the highway is looking at in terms of our regular busy season as well as sort of one-off projects. We have a busy season coming up, paving bids. We have the bid packages, we'll be sending those out. And hopefully we'll be getting some good bids and awarding those in April. We have a large amount of sidewalk work to do as well. And you can see then there's a host of other just sort of seasonal requirements that are starting to become a real concern. We have a young man who's currently working with us as a part-timer. He's expressed an interest in staying on full-time, and he's an excellent employee. So it would be somebody that we could keep on as a permanent part-timer, and if it worked out, we would go back and see what we could do to also help train in our recycling center. As you all know, we have issues with turnover, and potentially, some of the folks down there are also eligible for retirement. So they would become a person that would also be a resource for that as well.
Yeah, you had this town highway comparison, was that
Just for informational,
included on that thing? Okay.
yeah, just so the board can see. I mean, it's a large amount of work that they're doing and continue to do, and this extra person will be very helpful. There's a lot of times I can't get full crews out because I just don't have enough help. But he'll be able to help us get our grants and aid work done, get these special projects done, get the work in the pit done, make sure that our contract work gets done, yada, yada, yada.
Well, I think because he's willing and wants to, I think we can't say no.
No.
Willing and
because Other
able.
towns are
Cannot
putting out
find anybody
incentives
that-
to get.
Do anything.
That's another reason I didn't want to lose him, because if I lose him, I'll never get him back.
Right,
So it's not on the agenda for action, so.
Right.
well, we don't really have to do anything. It's
Well,
what's in the budget,
just
right?
consensus that let Scott and HR
Yeah.
deal with it.
We'll work with it. I just wanted informational, I don't like to do these
Yeah, okay,
things
no
without the
problem.
board at least having some feedback and input, so I appreciate that.
Okay, also in your packet, there's a letter from Kyle Dawson and Noah Glover about the sidewalk up on West Street. If anybody's been on that way, that sidewalk's about 3 foot wide, something like that. And it has stone walls on the side, and see, there's only one sidewalk, but it doesn't get plowed. It's on the north side, and that's our policy is that we don't plow the sidewalk on the
Well,
north side of the
Our
street.
sidewalk plow blade is 5 foot.
Yeah.
Right, which
That's
is
the
supposed to be the traditional size of a sidewalk, but many of ours are sub 5 foot. Unfortunately, when we plow the sub 5 foot sidewalks, we end up tearing up tree lawns, we end up banging into walls, tearing up other items that require repair and replacement. One of the items that we have talked about, and this is something maybe we should consider for next year, is there are other 4 foot plows that are less, not as elaborate as our current sidewalk plows, but could certainly get the job done. If we wanted to start doing some of these other areas that do have 4 foot or less sidewalks.
Okay, that's information today is not on the agenda for action, so, we'll continue on, and in their packet, there's a sidewalk evaluation map summary from 2019, so it shows all the sidewalks and some of the conditions listed. Also, there's the bike stand listed in here.
That location is gonna change.
Rich said he's got an update for that, so we'll get an update and make sure we share that with the board as well from the walk by committee.
Yeah, maybe at one of our future meetings, we can have just a full, this is what's gonna happen in the summer, and this is.
So I thought when we did our
project
paving award, we maybe have Andy come in and
timeline. Okay,
talk
that would
about
be great.
sort of the lineup, because it's a hectic summer this year.
Yeah, and it also informs people what to expect, because it's gonna be paving all in Fells Falls, so that's
Yep.
gonna interrupt
Yeah.
streets from time to time.
It's gonna be a little more disruptive.
Peter, going back to Kyle Dawson's letter, there's a request here for a speed limit reduction. Scott, what's your take on that?
Speed limit by statute can't be lower below 25 unless you have a traffic study.
Right.
Didn't at one point Fells Falls reduce this?
They reduced the square 15, lasted what, about 2 weeks, I think, and then somebody complained and we got it put back up.
Okay.
Because of the statute, basically. We didn't do a traffic study, they just went out and put 15-mile-an-hour signs out there and somebody brought it up.
So in the whole state of Vermont, like a street in Burlington, a commercial street, the car can go 25 miles an hour?
Yeah. Okay, let's continue on with the agenda here. Is there any orders, bills, and warrants
Nothing
tonight?
tonight,
And agenda for the March 21 meeting.
I got quite a few items already on, so just as a sort of a brief update for the board, we're gonna finalize all of our Depot Bridge items. I think we have 5 or 6 still outstanding items we have to get back to the engineers about. We have a management letter from our auditors that we'll review. Obviously, we have our committee assignments that Peter had alluded to, so there'll be a long list of those we'll have to go through and reappointments. There's another opioid settlement potential with a new group of plaintiffs, so we'll talk about that. Peter requested that we look at and review our tax sale policy, so we'll have a copy of that in, as well as I think some proposed updates to that. So that's already a fairly full agenda for that evening.
Okay, I think so. Go ahead, Rick.
Will the engineers be present or on the screen to present the options to the board?
I haven't invited them to come back, so I thought they had pretty much presented everything on their end. I'm not quite sure.
But we just have to discuss what we
Yeah,
wanna do
right.
and make final decision.
Because the walk bike committee went down to Canal Street and looked at it, and we wanted to get a drawing that reflected kind of where we ended up. A consensus last time was that there'd be a green strip, there wouldn't be parking on the east side. And actually, there's no parking on either side now. So basically retain that for the benefit of the viewscape. We retracted our recommendation for benches, which there just didn't seem to be enough space there. So we just want to make sure that there's no parking on the east side. That's our recommendation, but we're having a meeting on Thursday. Do you need anything official from us for recommendation?
That helps, just so that it can be presented, to the full group, so the board has a chance. I know the Historic Preservation Commission is still looking at some of the real issues. So I think that was still outstanding.
Okay, so we'll vote on a recommendation, present it to you, Scott, after our meeting on Thursday.
Okay, great.
So at this meeting next, the 21st,
Yes.
we're gonna talk about the bridge stuff. Are the residents themselves aware of what's gonna happen down there? I'm just wondering if they may wanna put their 2 cents in, when the construction starts. I know it's a year or 2 off, but I don't know what the timing to involve them.
Well, they do have an outreach coordinator that was hired through V-Trans, who's gonna be working with Betsy on outreach, very specifically to the business community as well as residents. So we just signed that grant agreement as part of this project, so that's gonna get paid
Okay.
separately.
Right.
I would think we'd want to work through them, because I think that's gonna be a real bonus for this project. I'm looking, they worked that very well in Middlebury when they did a really big project there.
Yeah.
And they had a really good experience with it, so they brought the same model here, and I think it's gonna work very well.
I think that'll
Do
take a
we
lot
sort
of
of get to look at a finished design in the end and just sort of,
There's no approval. The state takes your consideration under consideration, and sometimes they agree, and other times, as we have found on the Route 121 bridge, they don't take your concerns into consideration, and they put it out to bid.
It's been settled, about the paint color and stuff.
That's part of our discussion, galvanizing
Yeah.
versus painting. That's gotta be a final decision as well.
Gotta make these decisions.
I was thinking about this. It's obvious V-Trans doesn't want to paint it. I mean, they made it real obvious.
Well, they'll do anything you ask, but what they're telling you is that your responsibility going forward will be to continue that paint, keeping that painted in the future.
And that's very daunting. But is there any way we could contact some other towns that have a painted bridge and find out what their experience has been? Did they have to repaint it? And what did it cost? It's a tough decision because we'd really like to see it painted.
Didn't they say that, the only town that's had this issue was, no, that was the Galveston, sorry, that was something, different. That was Montpelier, but I thought he said that nobody has been in this position yet.
Right.
Have a bridge over water?
Yeah, with this, with this particular, what they're talking about doing,
Yes.
painting galvanized. I don't think
I'm
anyone
not sure
has,
that they have anybody. They
yes,
have
there's no one to
regular-
talk to yet, because it hasn't been the 50 years or whatever it is
Right.
where you pay.
well, I think that, there's a lot of painted bridges. I mean,
There are, but it's
they're
just
all
different,
painted.
but it's different materials underneath that's being
Right.
painted, I think is what they're saying.
Right.
But yeah, we could talk to someone who's painted another bridge, but I don't know how helpful it is to this situation and anyway, we can get into this next week.
Yeah.
Or next week.
We should go to look at a couple painted, if there we can find painted bridges, I'd like to see what they look like after 5 years.
Yeah, there's gotta be some that have been painted within the last 10 years, I would think.
Okay, let's go to the review agenda items of joint board meeting on May 30th, 23. That's a ways off, so we got some time to think about that one. Let's move on to other business. Elijah, you have anything?
No.
Rick, you said you,
Yeah, I've got a couple of things. One, I'd like to sort of take a look back at last night and see what worked and what didn't. Now that it's fresh in our memories now, and I've got a couple of points I'd like to bring up if I may.
go ahead.
The audio was really troubling to a lot of people who were present, and I'm wondering, could we check that out before the meeting begins?
We did.
And the
Audio
feedback was
systems,
really-
in my experience, are always problematic.
Every town meeting we've had has been.
We were here
Every
and we
single one.
checked the entire room, did not have any feedback, and as soon as it just
Weird.
They have the same problems when they put on shows upstairs. It's like at least one performance, they're gonna have
yes,
disastrous
Feedback.
sound problems.
Yes, okay.
it's frustrating because we did spend a lot of time trying to set it up.
Secondly, I got a couple of calls from some constituents just before the meeting saying that they couldn't find on the town website or in the book a clear posting of the Zoom link. Given all the discussion we had last night about accessibility, Scott did point out that on page 4, you can see it here.
Yeah, it's right there.
But people who, this person has spent 20 minutes going through this book and she couldn't find it. Could we just put it in a very prominent place, like here's the Zoom?
Either that or highlight it,
Highlight it or,
or black, bold it.
yeah, I just like to make it easier for people. Because this person also went to the website, by the time she called me, she was annoyed. And I said, I'll see what we can do.
Some other people contacted me and said the password that they were given didn't work.
Is it welcome with the password?
That was the best.
And the password isn't listed here. The password here, so.
Well, I
You know,
looked on the homepage and that's something that should have been prominently at the tip top of the homepage, how to zoom into town meeting, and it just wasn't there.
Yep.
That's,
The only challenge with that is you have to remind people that they can't participate. You know, that's the one big
They can
challenge.
participate, but you can't vote.
Right.
In comment.
we'll keep them all muted. The host can do that.
The cameras are on.
Given the intense emotions or feelings, whatever, about participation, I think we have to do everything we can to make it easy for citizens who are immobile or sick or whatever, to participate in the meeting. And
It's always good just to keep that at the forefront of awareness, just at all times.
yeah,
Like just making sure that it is in bold, you know.
I know at one time we had, like the bus, the mover hired, and they were bringing people in.
Mhm.
So they would pick them up and bring them down, and the thing with that, they do have the handicap access on the bus.
right.
So if anybody got a wheelchair and can't move very well, they don't have to climb up into the bus. And most of those buses now, if you've ever seen them, they do lower.
Mhm.
So
That's part of our assignment, though. That's the last thing I would have mentioned.
we arranged with that. They didn't charge us, I think, the last time we used them. They didn't charge for picking them up.
That's one of the things our assignment was to make town meeting more accessible and increase participation. And we accepted that assignment. And at some point I wanted, how do we approach it with the task force? Do we all sit around and brainstorm? What mechanism will we use to fulfill that assignment that we were given last night?
Well, the interesting part of that is where you do it. The high school's tied up. The only place is the middle school. That's got a big enough auditorium. But they have an elevator now.
Because the musical
On the
will be upstairs. Is that what we could do upstairs?
back. Yeah.
No, that wasn't the reason we could do it upstairs.
But,
What was the reason we could do it
well,
upstairs?
because it was so crowded down here. And there was a safety issue because the exits weren't open, and they had a table in front of this stairway over here to check in. So if there's an emergency, people had to get out, they're either gonna be jumping off the table, and the other side, the hallway where the meeting house people set up, that was partially blocked. In the kitchen, there's an ice machine stuck in front of the door. So you really had no egress to get out of here. If something happened, thank God we didn't, but,
But Susan's question is,
Yeah,
why
what-
didn't we have it upstairs?
Yeah, I guess I never heard the reasoning why we didn't have it upstairs.
No,
Was
the
it
last
because of
time that
Zoom?
we did it up there, we had so many problems with the setup with the Zoom and the audio that they decided it was easier to set it up down here. Then we had all the COVID time, so people weren't really showing up.
Right.
You can certainly try back up there, but it's not, this has its challenges to set it up for the audio and the back TV.
cause even there, the mics are even worse there than they were down
I know, I
here.
remember right there.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely could hear people better down here, but
Right.
it doesn't work
Because
when
if it didn't work, you could
you have
at least
too many.
project your voice enough so
Right.
people could hear you.
I mean, you could do that up there too, if you blocked off all of the seats in the back and you made people sit.
That
in
would have
front.
been my next choice, is to
That you
block
could
off
do
the
upstairs.
side aisles and make them sit in the center aisle.
Yes.
Yeah, and
And
then
block
you would
those
have
off
that
halfway up.
issue, that
That
everyone's
gives you at
spread
least
out.
200 seats, and if we get 200 people for a town meeting, we're gonna be lucky. We got 108 down here last night,
Yeah.
so.
And all we need. Go ahead, buddy.
Okay, I want to speak when everybody's done.
Go.
I'll go. Hearing the vote tally, sounds like, less than 400 people even voted.
Yes.
So,
Maybe.
you know,
Total votes cast, so Bonnie, just so you know, the total votes cast were 784 according to this sheet I'm sitting at.
oh, really? Okay, I was just listening to you read off 300 here, there. All right, well, that's better. That's good.
That's probably everything.
Yeah, only because when I went in there at 7 o'clock, they
Yeah.
said that they had the A through H or L or whatever table, it only counted 150 or something people that they had checked off. So that must do, I think it doubles. I think it's half of that.
Well, it does say here ballots cast were 392.
Yes.
There you go.
Because there's 2 pieces of paper, that's why it's.
It scans
That's
two
what it
things,
said.
could you
So,
vote one for
yeah.
school and one, yeah.
So it's 392, Bonnie.
Okay, so less than 400, yeah. I mean, again, that speaks to just lack of participation all around. And I think it's on us to do something about that. One little thing when I designed the website, there's a red bar at the tip top of the homepage. If they call it the announcement bar. And I had set it up so that that bar would say, click here for upcoming meeting info. And that would lead you right to a calendar. And Chuck or somebody just did away with that completely. And I think we need to put it back. I think it can be very helpful to take people right to a calendar. Okay, here's when the select board meets, here's when the trustees meet, and to anything that's coming up like town meeting, which is extremely important. We need to promote this better, and we need to get more citizen involvement. I really think, I feel real strongly about that. We had 100 and some people last night and less than 400 vote. That's not good.
It all depends on the contentious issues. You put merger on there,
Everyone.
and I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna get a turnout. But if there's no real contentious issues to discuss, Bonnie, you're not gonna get a big turnout.
And there was no, everyone was unopposed, so.
Yeah, I mean,
A lot of people didn't even, I talked to several people today who said I got too busy, but I know it was unopposed, so I wasn't gonna get to an election, so. And that makes a difference too. We gotta encourage people to run.
I mean, at the election when Elijah, Rick and I got elected, I don't think there were a whole lot more votes, and that was a contentious election.
We usually have closer to 5 something, almost
Yeah.
600. Normally, if I remember right, it's usually for this election, it's usually between 500 and 600.
that's if you have enough people running. I mean, there were a lot of blanks on those ballots, I mean, for the school district and even ours. I mean, it was just, it's amazing. You can't get anybody to run for anything. You've got 3 boards, plus how many school boards you got? They got Rockingham, the high school, and I mean, you know, there's only so many people to run around for all this, which in some ways merger would make sense. I'm not advocating or not advocating, but I mean, if we take up our suggestion last night about the policing townwide that Mr. McAuliffe wants to do, that would bring some people out of the woodwork, I can tell you right now. So one thing I would like to do under the business while we're on here would, if sometime between now and whenever you guys got, I know this is kind of sound crazy, you got free time, we could figure out what a cost would be. I mean, we know it costs $1 million something for the police department in Bells Falls, at least that's what they're quoting us. So I don't know, maybe we wait for that study that comes out and see, you know, and then go from there, but it would be interesting to see what the thing. I think the only thing you got left is the fire departments, and that's gonna be the tough nut to crack.
Oh, yeah.
It won't be $1 million, I'll tell you that, it'll be higher,
Oh, I'm sure it
a
will.
lot higher.
Because you only got, you know, how many officers you got there? 3, 4?
If we're all filled out with full timers, but right now we're short, so.
And they won't want them leaving
Well, that was,
town, so you'd have to hire a
you
whole.
remember when that vote came up the first time, that was the
Yeah.
first thing. The
Yeah.
people in Bells Falls stood up, and said, we don't want the police department out of town. And then Rockingham people responded, we don't want Bells Falls in our town either. So it's like,
Well, it's not that, it's that they don't, we'll have this discussion later, but there's not a sense we need full-time policing, we need some patrolling.
Yeah.
At certain times, which is different because of the way we are, we're not living in, you know, 1 square mile on top of each other. The sense is you don't need full-time patrol. So anyway, that's a discussion for a
yeah,
whole nother
that's
time.
it. So,
But how do we want to proceed with the assignment we got last night? That's my question for you, I guess, Peter. Do you want to have a task force? Do we want to, how should we move on? And Bonnie, you probably have ideas too.
I don't know, I think probably a task force, a couple people from the select board and some concerned citizens maybe. And some of the social service groups in town that we give so much money to. Get them involved and see what we can come up with. I feel really strongly about this. We need to increase citizen engagement. We really do. Anyway,
I think it's about more than just town meeting too, it's just about increasing general awareness and transparency, you know, just keeping people informed and, making it really easy for people to find all the information they need.
Yeah.
And just really taking a hard look at that.
And people your age too, Elijah, I mean, I looked around last night, it's just the demography of Vermont, it just, you know, Wyndham County is the grayest county and it's the second grayest state in the nation. So we just have.
I'm not gonna touch that one.
At least you do have the area.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm
In my
thinking.
spot here, that Jim Towson said that's my knowledge leak, so.
No,
Yeah, and
that's a good one.
This is also an issue for all towns,
is.
not just
Yeah,
us.
Yeah, it's just,
So
because it was
it's
on
not
the
that it's
news
just
this morning
for us,
about,
I
about
heard-
people giving up town meetings doing Australian ballot, I mean.
Yep.
There's pros and cons of both ways of doing it.
It is.
I prefer the town meeting way because you can change something at town
Yes.
meeting without, as Priscilla stood up and said last night, every vote you do, it costs money.
Yeah.
You have to get new ballots, everything is gonna be all done over again.
Yeah.
So this way, if you wanna change the budget, they can't tell you what to cut, but they can say, we can cut $200,000 out of the budget, and then it's our headache to figure out where we do it.
And that's been done many a
And it's been
times.
done before,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, I think, yeah, task force would be great. Let's see if we can find, and then, like Bonnie says, involving other community members, the ones who have already spoken out about this.
Yeah.
Get them while the iron's hot.
Yeah,
Get them on
right.
board.
That's right, they was, yeah.
If anybody can remember who was that was advocating,
We've got minutes somewhere.
I mean,
Ben,
but you're right.
that's who will remember.
Get the ones, the loud talkers, those are the ones you corner first, and if they back off, then you know it's gonna be headed for nowhere, so. But that would be the thing, I would say, where are you gonna do it? Parking is bad enough down here when we do the town meetings here, if you're gonna do it someplace else. Westminster used the high school, and they do a meal and all that stuff.
I know, that's
I
really
mean, to
involved.
me, that's ridiculous, but if that's how you gotta suck them in, I guess, maybe.
Free
Are
food,
you gonna
free
come for a
food.
hot dog?
I'm not cooking them, I'm
Make
gonna
her
say that.
Well, I was actually surprised that we had 100 plus last night. I thought, I was
pleasantly
expecting
surprised.
a lot.
Well, I was
a lot
surprised they
fewer.
just kept coming and.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
I was
turned
not
into this
expecting that
group.
many.
I think the law enforcement issue drew a lot of people.
Mhm.
But the Australian ballot, I couldn't believe that discussion went on and on.
No, I was surprised at
My
that.
God, I just, what was the thing? Did you vote for it or against it? I mean, it was, you know,
Basically,
It was a tough vote to just do yes or no on, it really was. And I would like to propose a change to the town website and bring back the municipal calendar and reconfigure that announcement bar to direct people to that calendar. As it is now, it's a little hard to find agendas and minutes and so forth. And I think we need to use the website, particularly for younger people who are familiar with that sort of thing. And let people know what we're up to and when we're meeting and what the meetings are gonna be about. I'm happy to help Betsy or anybody else reconfigure that and bring back a calendar and a place where the agendas are readily accessible and everybody can see when the upcoming meetings are.
Scott and Betsy, is that doable?
Definitely by me. I agree that that was I kind of forgot what it looked like, but yeah, it definitely just triggered you. Oh, upcoming, what's going on, even if you weren't interested in the meeting.
And having that physical calendar where you can actually see the calendar and what's happening, and you click on it, you can click right onto the Zoom link even. I mean, all that is technically possible.
And making it easier to find agendas and minutes too.
Yeah,
I think.
I always have to struggle with
Mhm. Took me a while to figure that out. Don't remember where.
it. But that's the problem when you have
very simple.
too many
I
staff
never had a problem
overturned.
with it. That's the only problem I have is that
But now we have-
they're not posted, but I mean.
And if I
And then
get the nod from
regulation.
him, I'll do it.
All right, Scott, you give him the nod?
I'm sure we can work with Betsy on that.
All right, thank you.
Can I
I just want to mention one more thing. I feel like we also need to remind people, hey, if you are interested in joining a board, you know, you have to get your petitions and everything, because all of a sudden it's January 10th, everything's due, and people didn't even know that, you know, with a deadline. So that's part of that,
That's another thing that needs to be heavily promoted, so people know how they can go about running for election. Cause I looked, cause I was looking to see, you know, when the ballots were due, and I couldn't even find it on the website. Now, I made the damn website. I couldn't even find it. So that's really important. We've got an election coming up in May, and we need to let people know when and how they can start getting a petition together to run for trustee.
Right.
Sue, you have any other business?
No, I think I'm all set.
Bonnie, you have any other business that we haven't discussed yet?
Nope.
Okay, we do not need an executive session tonight, so I'll entertain the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I
Second.
hear a second? Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor to adjourn will say aye.
Aye.
Right.
Passes. We are done for this evening. Make sure all the signature papers.
Recording stop.